So there are two types of serial communication we are going to learn here. First one is wired serial communication and second one is wireless serial communication. So there are various protocols has been designed for transmitting the data serially because it's a typical thing when you are transferring your data serially. If it is in parallel form, then it is very much easier as compared to the serial communication. Although it's an easier process in the parallel communication, but we are using serial communication widely for the long distance communication because of the cost involved in the parallel communication. So say for example, if you are having eight parallel lines and we want to communicate at 10 kilometers, so you need 10 wires of 10 kilometers to communicate. So in the parallel communication, we don't only need eight number of wires for transferring the data. So we need some more wires to control the data also. So control signals, data signals, and if you are having some address, then you can separate the address or you can take the address on the same line. Then handshaking signals will be there. So these three signals will be very important. First one is address or data bus. Second one is control signals, and third one is handshaking signals. So these three are very important in designing this serial communication. So if you are thinking like only 8 wires are required, not it is not like that. If you are having 8-bit data lines, then you need 16 wires to transmit the data successfully from one place to another place. So that was a major challenge when you are transmitting the data in the parallel form, or you are using parallel communication for transferring the data from one device to another device. So in our laptop, we are having a lot of ports are there. So some of the ports are serial and some of the ports are parallel. So say for example, if you are using printer port, then it is a parallel communication. If you are using USB, then it is a serial communication. And if you are using another UART, then it is a serial communication. If you are using your RAM or ROM, like if you are connected your RAM, so that is using parallel communication. So we are having a PCI card over there, and the PCI will follow the ARM protocol to transfer the data from one place to another place. So for communicating between a microcontroller and your RAM card, we are having a protocol. So that is normally in this today's world we are using AXI protocol, which is provided by your ARM company. So the first protocol which has been designed by ARM is AMBA. So that was a very simplest bus protocol which has been designed by ARM, and it's a open source software, or you can say open source bus. So you can just download and you can use that bus in your design. So that was the first thing, and this is the overview of your different protocols. So now we will move to the next slide where we will see what is the parallel communication and how we are going to use that. So in today's sessions, we will start with the parallel communication. Then we will move to the serial communication, and our agenda is to complete the serial communication using Arduino. So today we are going to use Ar- sorry, Arduino simulator for serial communication. So we are going to do that task. So we will start with the parallel communication. So here in the parallel communication, we are simultaneously sending the data from one place to another place or from source to destination. So there is a simultaneous sending of a data from sender to receiver. So if it is in a microcontroller, we will talk in master and slave. If it is in term of communication, so everywhere this is the type of communication. So either it is in term of master slave, sender receiver. So there are various names where we are using the source and destination as a different way. So you can call them as a sender receiver, you can call as a master slave, you can call as a master servant. So many names are there for the sender and receiver. So somewhere sometimes it is called as transmitter and receiver. So a lots of names are used in this communication system. So the advantage of parallel communication is you can send 8-bit data at a time. So the data rate will be always higher than the serial communication. So that will be not a challenge for your serial communication. In parallel communication, that will not be a challenge if you are transmitting. But there is other challenge in the parallel communication. So we will discuss those challenges what we are facing in the parallel communication. So the different characteristics of parallel communications are first one is clock. So whenever you are sending your data, so all the data will be synchronized on the clock. So clock is a digital signal, or you can say it's a square pulses or square waveform. So square waveform is having positive edge, which is from 0 to when the signal is going from 0 to 1. Second is negative edge, and third one is level. So the data can be latched at any position. Either it can be latched at positive edge or it can be latched at negative edge. So mostly, like if you are having a memory or RAM, so that is DDR. So that means double data rate. So double data rate will be always sample at the both of the edges. So the first data will be latched at the positive edge and second data will be latched at the negative edge of your clock cycle. So that's why the today's RAM is called as TDI, double data rate. So that is also using parallel communication. Now second problem is crosstalk. So what do you mean by crosstalk? That means if two parallel wires are running and they are separated by some dielectric material. So it can be a space or air, it can be a plastic material or any other material can be there. So if two wires will be separated by some dielectric material, then it will behave like a resistor. So although we have not made a resistor over there, but the resistance is present. So this capacitance and resistance is known as parasitic capacitance and resistance. Why resistance is there? Because we know it's made up of copper wire. So copper wire is having some resistivity, and if it is having some resistivity, then if you are running that wire of few of kilometers, then it is having some resistor. Although if you are using in centimeters, then also it is having some resistance. So the small resistance will be there, but there will be a resistance. So due to which, what will happen if it is if you are having a very high frequency signal on one of the line, then your capacitor, which is present between these two lines, will behave like a short circuit. So if it behaves like a short circuit, then the signal available on the line will be jump on the line 2. So due to which there will be a crosstalk, means you are not sending that data on the line 2, although it is traveling on the line 2. So that is known as crosstalk. Third is clock skew. Now clock skew, when you are sending the data from one place to another place and in the parallel way, what will happen? The parallel lines will behave like a resistance and capacitance. If you can model, yeah, that can be modeled as a series resistance and parallel capacitance. So just I will show you how it look like. So we are having two parallel wires. So these parallel wires will behave like a capacitor, and the series wires will behave like a resistor. So your transmission line will look like, so your transmission media will look in this fashion. So due to this, what will happen? This RC combined together to find to give a delay. So this will be given as tau, that is time constant, that will be equals to RC multiplication of resistance and capacitance. This is known as delay of your transmission line. So what will happen when your this data is traveling on the line and it is facing some delay, then all the data which is available on the different line will face those delays. So the delay can be higher and smaller depend upon the configuration you are using. So due to which what will happen, every data or 8-bit data will arrive at the receiver at the different time instant of time. So arrival of a data at a different instant of time is known as Q. So what will happen? If your signal here you have applied in this fashion, so it will be delayed and it will be looks like this one. So say for example, if it is t equals to t0 changing from 0 to 1, so here it will be having t1 when it is changing from 0 to 1. So this is known as Q. So arrival of a data at the different instant of time at the receiver end is known as Q. So due to skew, what will happen? You have to limit your speed. If you increase your speed, that then what will happen? All the data will be mixed together. So you will not able to recognize. So that's why you have to limit the speed. And second thing, you have to limit the distance. If the distance is higher, your signal will be very poor at the receiver end. So you will not able to recognize where zero is there and where one is there. So that's why you have to limit the distance. So these two will be the limitation. Then when we are using parallel communication, so when we are using parallel communication, we need some other signals too. So these are handshaking signals and directional control signals. So as I have mentioned you, then whenever you are using parallel communication, we need some extra wires over there. So those extra wires are known as control signals and handshaking signals. So these are those signals. So handshaking signals are like acknowledgement and request. If your slave wants to receive some data, so he will request your master to send that data. So just like I have told you that AMBA bus is the first bus which is manufactured by ARM processor, so ARM company. So those bus, if you see those kind of bus will be always available in your mobile phone. So the Qualcomm, Snapdragon, these whole companies are using those buses only. So someone is using AXI, someone using AMBA. So these are the extension of the first bus. So only AMBA bus is open source. The other bus are, if you want to use, you have to purchase those buses. So the first bus which has been manufactured in the industry, that will have the only single master. So your controller will have the single master, and you can connect a lots of peripheral around the controller. So say for example, if you take your laptop, so you at the center your laptop is having a master, that is the Intel processor, and we are having a lots of peripherals like RAM, graphics card, Ethernet port, USB. So these all are known as peripherals. So if you connect these peripherals, this will behave like a serial or parallel communication. So these all will be treated as a slaves. Now each devices will try to communicate with your master. So whenever you insert your pen drive in the USB port, so he wants to try to communicate with your processor. So there may be some process will be going on in your process. So it is having some interrupt service routine. It will call that routine and accordingly it will execute. So there are lots of things when you are going to learn, or you if you're going to learn this protocols. So the protocols are the most important thing which is followed by the buses. So buses is not simply just bunch of wires, but it contains a set of protocol, or you can say set of instruction which we should follow for the transmission. Now the parallel communication using these kinds of cables, that is known as PATA. So parallel ATA. Now this kind of cables you can see inside your laptops or inside your CPU. So these types of cables can be used for the communication between your hard disk and your processor. So there we are connecting this kind of cable. So you can see these kind of connectors in your CPU. So CPU we are having very easily access. So you can remove even in the CD drive also we are using this PATA cable for the communication between processor and controller. But there is a limitation of using this cable, that is you can use up to 18 inches only. So that is the limitation. Now, second, where we are using the parallel communication, we are using inside your microcontroller. So as I have suggested, like inside your microcontroller, we are having ADC, DAC, and other more peripherals are there. So and like this, if you see in the figure below, this ports. So this is a RAM port which is available in your motherboard. So here you can connect the RAM. So this will use a internal bus to transfer the data from your RAM to your microcontroller. So this is your microcontroller. Either it can be Intel or AMD. And this kind of buses. So this is a bus which is presented on the left hand side. So there is a link between your CPU and memory controller. So that is the parallel communication. Why we are using these buses? Because it is having very low cost, because you can transfer the data at a very high rate with a very low cost, because the distance is very less. If distance is higher, then the cost will become higher. But if you use serial communication, here what will happen, like if you are having a processor which is working on 3.4 gigahertz or 4.4 gigahertz, and your hard disk is running at 800 rpm or 1600 rpm, so it is having maximum speed in mbps. So what will happen, your controller will work very slow because your peripheral is very slow, and your master is very fast, and your peripheral is very slow. So what will happen, there will be never a synchronization. So what we are using bridges over there. So that bridges are used to communicate between the transmitter and receiver. So if you are, or master and slave. So this is the way how we are communicating in the computer. So here is the example of how the communication has been evolved in your PCs. So first CPU what we have developed, it is 8085. Now then after we have come up with the 80836, 80486, then Intel Pentium Celeron, Pentium 3 AMD processor, the Intel Pentium 4, Intel Pentium M, via C7 and Intel Core 2, and lots more invention has been done in the later stages. Now here you can see the transfer rate of this processor is, in the first case when you are using 80836, the transfer rate is 4653 Mbps. So that is the maximum speed what we are achieving. Okay, sorry for interruption. So as we have moved from 80386 to 80486, you can see how the transfer rate has been increased. So the transfer rate has been increased up to 191 megabits per second, and the frequency has also increased it up to 50 megahertz. So as we have moved from older to newer technology, you can see the frequency has been significantly increased and your data transfer rate has been significantly increased. So now currently if you see in the Intel Core i7 processor, we are able to achieve 3.5 or 4 gigahertz. So that's a very high frequency. That's why the transfer rate become has very high. So that's why you can communicate or you can use the data at a very high speed. So that is the why these are the things are there. So the maximum throughput of a microcontroller or a microprocessor you can easily calculate by the width. Width means your how many bits are there in your microprocessor. So if it is a 64-bit microprocessor, that means your width bit will be 64 bits. So if it is in bits, you can easily convert into bytes, divide by 8. So you will get how many number of bytes these are there. Then the clock frequency, it will be always mentioned on your laptop. So if you want to see, you go there in the Windows and just click here. So you can click here properties and you can find. So it is 2.4 gigahertz, the maximum frequency, and it's a 64-bit operating system. So 64-bit, and second thing is this, and third multiplied by how many data per cycle you are sending. So always we are using DDR RAM, so that's why double data rate will be there. So that's why we are multiplying by 2. So two data will be sent at the when send in the one cycle. So that's why we have multiplied by 2. So total you can calculate. So this will be the maximum data rate you can achieve in the parallel communication. Now, if you just consider the parallel communication using IEEE 488 bus, so this is another standard which is given by IEEE. So it is having some characteristics. So we will see what are the different characteristics. First, it is a short range. So you can't use a parallel communication for a longer distances. That is the first limitation of using parallel communication. Then second is it has been used for a long time because it has been developed in 1960s. So you can see right now means almost 50 years is there. So it has been almost used 30 years. Then after this IEEE 488 bus has been taken over by ARM. So in today's world, the most leading company in the designing of buses is ARM. So that is the most prominent or dominating company in the field of designing the buses. So this bus is also known as SPI IB. Daisy chain connections is there. So chain connections means there is a one connector you can connect the another. You can connect those pins and you can increase the length of your wire. So in this way you can use. And the last point that it contains 16 lines for transferring the data of 8 bits. So here we are having 8 bidirectional data lines used for the data transfer. So 8 is a dedicated line which is used for the data transfer. So sometimes this bus is also used to send the address. So address is nothing but it is special type of data only. Three handshaking signals will be there. So like acknowledgement request. So these are kind of signals will be there. And five for the bus management. So these are known as control signals. So five control signals will be there. So say for example, I am busy. So I will send your data later. So these kind of signals will be generated by the bus. So these signals are known as control signals, and that is used for the bus management. Bus management. So these are the various characteristics of parallel IEEE 4 rated bus. So there are three important consideration in the parallel communication. First one is speed, which is limited by bit rate and skew. So if you are having a long running wires, then there will be a skew and it will limit your bit rate. If the higher will be the cable length, then the chances of crosstalk will be higher, because we have seen after every regular interval of time you are having some capacitance. So that's if you are having a higher capacitance, that means there will be a higher chance to cross talk. Last one is complexity. So the complexity of your parallel communication is very easy, because we want to only latch the data. The latching of the data should be at the same rate which we are using at the sender side or master side. So if you have synchronized the data properly, then you can transmit the data in the very easy form in the parallel communication. So these are the various important case consideration for the parallel communication. So if you are having any doubt up to this point, you can ask. So you can have a 2 minutes break, then we will continue the session. Okay, so we shall start now. Now, till now, whatever we have discussed, so till now, whatever we have discussed, that we have discussed in term of parallel communication with a wire. So either you can see the example of microprocessor or microcontroller. So we need a PATA cable for connecting those things. So we need a physical medium for connecting those devices. So now we have moved in the RF world where we are using the parallel communication with using without wire. So that is the first time where we have sent instead of Morse code, we are sending some other data which is in form of parallel wirelessly. So that was the first time we have used for the purpose for sending the data from one place to another place in the parallel form. So that system will contain the multiple input and multiple output systems, and the group of bits are called as symbols. So here the group of bits are all called as symbols. So in the recent technology, if you just see, we are using DVB-T, that is transmitting the data wirelessly with a speed of 6048 bits in parallel. So the DVB is like digital video broadcasting is that. So this is normally used in your DTS services. So the DTS services using a RF medium. So you can see you are having an antenna where you are going to receive your signal from the space. So the data rate is very high because we are going to see a video signals over there. So in the video signal, we are having 30 frames per second, and each frame is consist of number of pixels. So here, if you are sending the data at a very slow rate, you are not able to see your images clearly at the receiver end. So for that kind of purpose, we are sending data in parallel. So that is the most innovative technology has been developed in the parallel communication using RF. So now we move to the other type of communication that is named as serial communication. So instead of sending the data in the parallel form, right now we are sending the data on a single wire by bit by bit. So this is the process of sending a data one bit at a time sequentially over a communication channel. So the communication channel can be wired and can be wired, as we have seen in the parallel communication. So both can be the transmission medium for the serial communication. So first we will see the how we are going to communicate the data serially from one place to another place. So why serial is used? Serial communication is used. So it is having a several benefits. For that purpose, we are using serial communication. So first benefit is you can use the serial communication over a long distance of wire. So that is the first thing because it is cheaper than your parallel communication. So say for example, if you are having a 10-kilometer distance and you want to communicate So if you are using parallel communication, then you need 10 wires for 10 kilometers. If you are using serial communication, you can use only single wire for 10 kilometers. So that is the first benefit of using serial communication. So as we know, in the serial communication, we are having either one or two wires. So if you are having only two wires, you can send the data at a higher rate because we are not having a parasitic capacitance over the wire. So if you are not having the capacitance, that means you will not have any kind of crosstalk over the wire. So that means you can travel or you can send the data at a very higher rate. So that is the second advantage of using serial communication. There is a disadvantage. Synchronization difficulty will be reduced because less number of wires are there. So we don't have to worry about all 8 wires. So if your data is sending on the single wire, we just want to worry about the single wire, whether the data is transmitting at the same speed or not. So that will be only considered. So you can use only one wire for transmitting. So you need to worry less than as compared to parallel communication, because in parallel communication you have to worry about all the 8 wires. If any wire is delayed, then your data will be disturbed. So the purpose of synchronization. So now we will see why we are going to synchronize the data from transmitter and receiver. So say for example, I am throwing a ball at a rate of 10 balls per second, and you can receive those balls at a rate of 5 balls per second. Now what will be happen when I will, after 5 seconds, the five ball you can catch, or you can receive the 5 balls. Other 5 balls will be lost. So due to which what will happen? The five data has been lost or 5 balls has been lost. So for this purpose, we need a proper synchronization between a transmitter and, so we need a proper synchronization between transmitter and receiver. So just take an example of Bluetooth. So in the Bluetooth, what you will do? First, you will switch on your Bluetooth device. In the second process, you are going to pair your device with the another device. So at that time, one will be acting as your master and second will be acting as your slave. So the master will send the data to the slave. Now the on after pairing the devices, you are going to transfer the data. So you will send the data in 3 phases, or you require two prior phases before sending the data. First, you need to pair up, and second, you need to switch on your device. So these two steps should be there. So we will see how to communicate using synchronization. So there are two types of transmission are there: data synchronously and asynchronously. So here in the synchronously purpose, we are sending the data with a clock frequency. So your data will be latched after every clock. So here we need an extra wire for a clock signal. So instead of data, we need an extra wire to send our data from one place to another place. So we need two wires for sending the data. Asynchronous type of transmission, we are sending the data or signals along the transmission side. So here we need only single wire. So we will see that thing, how you can transmit the data. So here first we are discussing the synchronous type of serial communication. So here we need two types of data. So for two types of line, first line will carry your clock signal. So here you can see there are pulse of trains of pulses are there. So this is known as clock pulses. And second, we are sending the data stream. So in the data stream, we are having all the data and addresses. So this will contain both the things, address and data. So the first signal which you are shared is your clock frequency. So the transmitter and receiver should be running on this same clock frequency. So he will able to understand that at which rate I want to receive the data, and transmitter is sending the data at this rate. If he is not sending the data at that rate, what will be happening? You will lose the data. So for that kind of thing, we are having some control signals also for controlling the data rate. So he will send a signal that you are sending at a very high rate, so you should maintain the rate, or you will not able to see the data. So I will show you in the demonstration what will happen if your data rate changes. The second line will contain your data. So it will be after every rising edge, the data will be new data will be latched. So here you can see at the 9th clock pulse, your D7 is latched. At the 10th clock pulse, your D6 has been latched. At the 16th clock pulse, rising edge of 16th clock pulse, your D0 has been latched. So in this way, the data has been latched at the sender and receiver side. Now, second type of serial communication is asynchronous type of serial communication. Here, signal are specified by predetermined data rate transfer protocol. So here, what we are doing, so before sending the data, we are sending the clock frequency. So that your receiver will able to know that at which rate I am sending the data. So that is the first thing which we are doing in the asynchronous communication. So that is the second thing. They have specified the preset frequency between devices. Signaling sequence is specified the beginning and ending of the signal. And we are specifying start and stop bit from where the data has been started, and second thing where stop has been specified. So that two things will be specified, and frequency set at the beginning of the transfer. So we will set once the frequency, then after when the data packet will be sent. So if your packet is of 8 bit, two extra bit will be sent. One is start bit and stop bit. So there is some optional bits are also there, like parity bits, which are used for error detection. So these are the optional bits you can use in the asynchronous communication. So now we will see the asynchronous communication. So normally the UART is one of the example of asynchronous serial communication where we are using serial asynchronous communication. So how we are going to perform that thing? So what kind of hardware you are going to use to perform asynchronous serial communication? So we are using parallel in serial out shift register, so which you have studied in the digital fundamentals. So that we are using here. So what it will be doing? So it will take the data in the parallel form, and it will write the data in the serial form. So he will read the data in the parallel form and write the data in serial form. So what it will be happening? So you read all the 8 bits together, and one bit will be out of your from your output. So this kind of operation will be there. So it is also known as parallel to serial converted. So for that purpose, we are using shift register. So we have already studied 4 types of shift registers: serial in, serial out, serial in parallel out, parallel in serial out, parallel in parallel out. So here we are using parallel in serial out. At the receiver end, we are using serial in parallel out. So for again converting the data in the parallel form. But when we are using flip-flops, you need to specify the clock frequency so that the data will be latched at the proper proper clock frequency. So before starting your communication, you should specify the data rate, or you should specify the clock frequency, or that is been done by sending the data over the line before the data transfer. So before the data, you should specify the clock frequency. Then you should start the transmission. So this type of things will be there in UART. So this is the timing diagram of UART. So before the data started, it will be in ideal state. So it will be neither 0, it will be neither 1. So when you start your data, so before that you are going to send a start bit, and when you are stopping data, you will going to send the stop bit, and in between you are going to send your data B0, B1, B2, B3. So normally the data will typically the data size is equals to 8 bits. So In some microcontroller, it can be 64, it can be 32-bit, but normally when you are using serial communication, the size of data bit is 8 bits, because to handle higher bits in a one packet or one frame, it will be difficult for you. So that's why we are using only 8 bits. So normally all the protocols, they are following the same standard. We are sending the data rate, or we are sending the bit over the channel having the size of 8. So this is an example of asynchronous serial communication. So here the parity bits can be used for the error checking, so it's optional. Clock signals runs faster than the data transfer rate. So you can see here the here the clock will be for every here if you see the data, for the every data we are having one clock cycle. So the clock cycle frequency will be double than your data rate. So that will be the one condition. So every time the clock should have the higher frequency than the data frequency. If it is not, you can't transfer your data. So this technique is also used for distinguish the noise from your signal. So if the data rate is higher than your clock frequency, you are not able to recognize your data. So data will be read into shift register. So I have already explained how the parallel in and serial out shift register is used at the transmitter end, and serial in parallel out will be used at the receiver end. So this UART can use RS-232 as standard. So every protocol is having its own standard. So you can say the own signaling level. So it has some specific voltage for representing zeros and ones. So say for example for RS-232 and 232 standard, we are having -4 to -15 for zero representation, and for one representation it is having +4 to +15 voltage. Now this signaling level standard is defined for the RS-232 standard. So it requires to convert those 0 to 5 voltage between this range, -3 to -15. 0 should be converted to -3 to -15, and 5 should be converted to +3 to +15. For establishing that relationship, we need some driver chips. So these driver chips are there in your uh, PCs to drive your RS-232 standard. So you can see in the laptops we are not having RS-232 in this real world. So today in today's life we are not having a RS-32 because it will take a lots of power to convert that voltages from 0 to 5 to -4 to -15 and +4 to +15. So that's why these cables are not present in your PCs. Now we move to the serial communication wirelessly. So why we should move to the Bluetooth? So in the serial communication, so you can see, although we are having one wire, but when we are connecting thousands of peripheral to one controller, what will happen? You need thousand wires. So there will be a lots of mesh will be there. So to reduce that mesh, we are having another serial communication type that is known as Bluetooth to reduce or to remove the cables. So this will be removing your cable. So that's why Bluetooth has become much more popular in this real world. So this Bluetooth will be used in the wireless personal area network, so WPAN, so which is having the less radius than the 30 feet. So if you are having a less distance than this one, then you are using Bluetooth devices, and you can connect multiple devices along with your one master. So this will be the master which is sitting at the center, and we are having multiple slaves over there, and you can communicate with all the slave devices at a time. So now we will see the development in the Bluetooth. So Bluetooth is using spread spectrum technique for sending the data. So we have already studied two type of spread spectrum. So frequency hopping spread spectrum and spread spectrum, direct sequence spread spectrum. So it is using frequency hopping spread spectrum over 79 channels. So it is having so it is having only It is having 79 channels, so you can connect at least 75 number of peripherals with that single control. So you can see there is a two version which is available in the Bluetooth 2.1 and 3.0. So right now we are having another versions of Bluetooth. So there is a scope where you can enhance the Bluetooth devices. So you can see here the first version is running on the 2.4 gigahertz. The second version is running on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Because 2.4 gigahertz become very much crowded, so that's why we have selected for 5 gigahertz. The distance range for the first Bluetooth device is 10 meters, but and the second is also having a 10 meters. So maximum distance range has not increased, but the data rate has been increased significantly. So you can see here the data rate here is 1 to 3 Mbps, and here the data rate is 54 Mbps. The application throughput, whatever the application you are using to send the data, will be having 0.7 to 2.1 Mbps, and here you are having the up to 24 Mbps. So this is your data rate you can maximum achieve, and this is the throughput you are getting. So the maximum speed you will get through these devices will be this much only. So 24 Mbps will be the maximum speed you can get using Bluetooth 3.0 version. So this is an example of Bluetooth devices where we are having a Bluetooth serial ports over there, and it is going to connect with your device, and it will transmit your data from one place to another place. So the communication, how it says, first it finds the signal and accepts it. Second, it use one-time keys, that means pairing, and optional encryption will be there. And then the device will be recognized in the future use. So once you paired up, then it will be used in the future also. So we will just take a 2 minutes break. Then after we will continue this Bluetooth Wi-Fi serial communication. So we will start this topic after 2 or 3 minutes. So just take a break of 2 or 3 minutes. Then we will continue the third topic of our today's session. Hello. Okay. Okay. So I will start from the beginning. Just give me a minute.
सर हेलो
Yes. Yes. हाँ. Yes.
सर
Yes.
कॉलेज में हार्डवेयर लैब है या मतलब
आर्डिनो ना. हाँ. आर्डिनो तो है. काफी सारे हैं.
मतलब नहीं नॉट वर्चुअल लैब टाइप बट ओरिजिनल लैब इज
नहीं.
देयर इन
उसमें
आवर
हार्डवेयर है.
अच्छा मतलब कोई
हाँ.
भी मतलब
हार्डवेयर.
सर्किट सर्किट डिजाइन कर सकते हैं वैसा मतलब सब वो आईसी वगैरह और मतलब ऐसा कुछ एटमॉस्फेयर
हाँ. हाँ है ना.
ओके
सब है.
तो अगर कोई कुछ मतलब हमें ट्राई करना हो तो हो
हाँ.
सकता
कर
है
सकते हो.
आफ्टर
आपको
स्टार्टिंग ऑफ द
मेरे
कॉलेज
अंडर में ही आती है. सब कुछ MA 102 में होगा. तो आपको वहां से इशू कराना पड़ेगा.
ओके तो हमारी
इशू करा
ब्रांच
के
के
ले
लिए
जाते.
भी मतलब हाँ अच्छा
सबके लिए. ऑल ओवर कॉलेज. कोई भी चाहे तो इशू करा. मैकेनिकल वाले भी करा सकते हैं. ईसी. कंप्यूटर. कोई भी.
ओके सर
इवन
थैंक
रास्पबेरी पाई. तो these different
ओ
devices are there. बहुत सारे कंप्यूटर स्टूडेंट्स के पास है भी.
थैंक यू सर
So just give me a minute, then I will start. So we will start with the demonstration of this simulator. So on the left hand side, we are having the coding window. So if you double click on this coding window, you will have the access of the code. So you can change the code and you can write another code and you can simulate it. On the right hand side, we are having different peripherals. So we will start from the left hand side on the top. So this peripheral is known as push button. So this push button is having no numbers. So on the right hand side, you will able to see a white box where you can write the number of pins or pin number. So if you specify two, that means this push button is connected to two. So you need not to connect physically anywhere else. So you can just specify the numbers and you can connect those pins with this Arduino. Same way, here we are having a sliding switch. So this sliding switch, if it is here and if it is here, so before if it is here, it is represented by 0. If it is here, it is represented by 1. So this is known as a sliding switch. These two are piezo. So these are same as buzzer. So like whenever the output is 1, so it will be normally used as the output device. So whenever our output is 1, so it will uh, turn a beep. If you are not having a output 1, if you are having the output 0, it will not turn on your beep 1. This I2C is your protocol. So it's a serial protocol. So in this serial protocol, if you want to interface with a memory, you can use I2C protocol. So you can send the address and data over the same line. So you can use this protocol for that kind of purpose. This is a servo motor. So if you want to run clockwise, anti-clockwise, you can just write a code for that purpose and you can use that motor. This is a simple motor where you can change the speed of a motor by changing the by implying the pulse width modulation. So that is the this thing. So these are the output devices. These four are output. This is a pulsar which is used as an input devices. If you want to provide some pulses at the input side, you can give from here. This is two analog inputs. So where the analog inputs can change from 0 to 5 volts and you can connect to some of the pins. If you want to join some pins like 10 and 3, so you can apply here 10 and 3. So this will be short circuited if you join these two pins. Then above this we are having four LEDs. So you can connect any four LEDs. So say for example 0 to 3 I want to connect. So 0 to 3 it will be connected. These four LED will be connected here. These two are 7 segment LED which is used to which is going to use for a display of numbers and alphabet. So if you want to represent 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 8, 7, 8, 9, you can use it. Now we are having two output LEDs. So here two output LEDs are there where you can blink those LEDs. This is the SPI protocol. So this is another serial protocol which is going to use for transmitting and receiving the data. So there is a difference between I2C and SPI, that I2C is having single master and multiple slave, but in SPI we are having multiple master and multiple slave. So that is the difference between these two serial protocols. These two serial and alternate serials are the two serial ports which are available in your Arduino. So this serial is always connected between 0 and 1. So this is fixed. So you can't change this one. But alternate serial you can form another two pins as a alternate serial where you can use those pins for a serial communication. And this is TFT. So for displaying any things on TFT, you can use the TFT. So first we will start with the blinking LED program. So if you see here carefully, we are having two sections. One is setup section and second is loop section. So we are have here, this is known as variable. So if you want to define some variable, you can define the variable in the beginning. So I don't want to define any variable. So I have deleted that variable. Now in the setup, void setup, whatever you are defining, that will be executed once only. So if you use double slash, that will be used for defining one line comment. If you using slash star and ended with the star slash, that is used for the multi-line comment. So these are used as single line and multi-line comment. So we are using double line comment. So we are using single line comment using double slasher. So here the void setup is defined for initializing all the inputs and outputs, and this program which you are writing within the setup, it will execute once only. So it will now what we want to do, we want to define one of the LED as a output and we want to blink it. So for defining a pin as a output, we are having a instruction like pin. So here, once you write pin, here you can see we are having various instructions. So we want to define pin mode. So pin mode are having two arguments. One is defined as pin, second one is direction. So pin, you have to specify the number on which pin you want to connect. So I want to connect at 8. So I have defined it. Direction means either it's a input or it's a output. So it's a output. Whenever you are connecting a LED, that means it's a output. So this is output. So I have specified that pin mode 8 is your output. So the 8 pin of your Arduino will behave as a output pin. Now I want to blink that LED. So what I will write? So I will write digital write. So I want to write first digital write. So here you can see here digital write is there. Then again we have to define two things, pin and value. So pin is 8 same and we want to write high. So it will become on. Now we want to wait for some period. So delay. So here you can see here delay is there. So just click here. So delay in milliseconds. So I will specify 1000. So that means it will wait for a second. Then it will write digital write on the same pin. I will write low. So first it will be high, then it will wait for a second, then it will go low. So what it will be do? It will be blinking. Now again you have to wait for a second. So after completion of every instruction, you should specify semicolon. Then again it will wait for a 1 second and it will go on the first instruction, that is digital write 8. So then whatever you write in this loop, it will be continue following that process until you stop your device. So what you need to do, you need to first compile it. So from here you can compile. Here I have missed the semicolon, so that's why this is showing error. So first you compile, so it will show you compile pass successfully. So that means your whatever you have program you have written, that is correct. Then you have to click on accept. So once you click on accept, this program will be replaced by your program. Now what you have need to do, you need to connect here the 8. So I want to connect here that 8. So the 8th number LED has been connected to this 8th number of pin. Now I will execute. So execute, the shortcut keys is F9 and you can run from here also. So run. So now you can observe this LED is blinking. So it will be on for 1 second and then it will be off for 1 second. So this is the first simple program what I have shown you. So this is not any serial communication or any type of communication in there. Just it's a blinking of LED. So now we will see a program which based on the serial communication. So just I will explain you the program and then I will show you how it is going to perform. So first sentence, void setup is there. So void setup means this whatever you are writing in this brackets, this will be executed once. So first line it is written serial begin. So whenever I am writing serial begins, that means I am specifying my baud rate. So at which rate I am going to transmit the data or at which rate I am going to receive the data. So the hardware is having a data rate of 9600 bits per second. So it will send 9600 bits in a second and it can receive 9600 bits in 1 second. Then what it will do, it will print serial print ln. So if you write serial print, it will print continuously. If you write serial print ln, then it will write your uh, paraphrase, whatever you are written in the double inverted bracket, it will be written on the next line. So that's why we are using serial print ln, so that you can understand it is written on the next line. Then you have to break the process. So you can write or you can remove the break. So I will not use the break in the program. Then in the while loop, I have written nothing. So it will not execute that block. So there is nothing to execute in the loop. So we will see what this program is going to work or going to do, and then we are having four various tasks. So just copy this program. So I will share this program with you so that you can perform this task. And once you are getting, so just delete this program, paste here, and compile. So compile successfully. Just accept this program. Now this program has been written in your Arduino. So now I will going to execute that program. So first thing, your baud rate should change. So the baud rate of your this processor, your controller. So this is a controller. The name of controller is Atmega 320 328. That is used by the Arduino. Now the baud rate, if you change here, so I will change to 4800. Now this serial port can communicate at the 4800, and you are sending the data at the rate of 9600. So there is a mismatch of your data rate. So what will be happening when you are executing this program? You will get error. So whenever you are getting an error, that means the speed at which you are sending the data and the speed at which you are receiving the data is not same. So that is the challenge. So what you need to do in the hardware, it will execute because it's a logical error. So it's a logical error, so it will execute your program, but you will receive some wrong characters. So what I need to do, I need to change with 9600. Now speed is same. So now you can open the serial port, so you can see whatever you are going to write here, or whatever the controller is writing. So now you execute the program. So you can see hello world is written over there. Now again, if you execute, then it will again print the hello world in the next line. So halt, run. Okay, so it will erase after every time. So it will be working in this session. Now we will see what are the various tasks you need to perform. So we are having four various tasks. The first, I am showing the same output here also. So now the first task, change the baud rate in the program. So where you need to change, so you need to answer it. Okay, so I have lost my internet connectivity, so that I I was disconnected. Now in this program, where you make the change so that the program will work at a 4800 bits per second. So how you can specify the new baud rate? From where you can change, or what you can change in this program? Okay, Om has written serial begin. Yes, it's correct. If you change the serial begin 4800, then the baud rate will be changed. So just double click here and replace 9600 by 4800 and just compile here, except here. Now, if you try to execute, it will not execute because the baud rate of serial communication is at 9600. So first you make it 4800. Now, if you execute, this will execute. Now you can see you have sent you have seen the correct message. So this is your first task. The second task, send two messages in new line. First, in the first line, you should write your enrollment number, and in second line, you should write your name. So what you will do? So you can see the program and where we should change so that first line should show your enrollment number and second line should show your name. So what changes you should make in this program that will display in this fashion. Hello.
Satisfy them so that they don't become an obstacle to your personal and professional goals. 9. Expect the best.
कहाँ पे चेंज करेंगे कि पहली लाइन में आपका एनरोलमेंट नंबर दिखाएगा, दूसरे में आपका नेम. Either you unmute yourself or you type in chat window. So it's correct. You need to change in the serial printer. So on the first line, if you want to change, so here you write your enrollment number. Whatever enrollment number is yours, you just write it. And you have to add another instruction that again you have to print another serial print and ln so that you can print another line which will represent your name. So you can name it anything. So if you copy and just paste here, this will compile. Okay, so brackets. So we are having errors in brackets. So sometimes this error will be there when you are using some brackets in the other format. So if the font is different, then it will accept some other bracket. So that will be the error. So accept. Now execute. So there is a difference between speed. So 9600 you make the speed, then again reset and execute. So you can see here the first line will show your enrollment number and the second line will show you the enrollment name. Now third part, the task number 3. So now you have to send a message which should be displayed again and again until you switch off the machine. So message can be your name. So what you will do? I have already told you we are having two sections. One is serial, one is setup, and one is loop. So where you make the changes so that your instruction will execute and again. So I have showed a program blink LED. So where your light is blinking again and again and again until you have stopped the process. So at that time you have written the program in the sections loop. In the loop section you have written the program. So you have to write the same thing in the loop. So what you will do? So just the same message. So I want to print the enrollment number once and then I want to print the name again and again. So just copy this line and write it into loop. So whatever you are writing in the loop, it will execute again and again. So if you don't define any delay, what will happen? It will run continuously, and if you define a delay, then it will display after that much of time. So just compile here and accept here and just see the serial port. Now in the serial port, once you execute, so you can see the Ravi will be executed again and again, again until you stop the process. So here also you can see the serial text. You are receiving some data. So halt and reset. So this is the third task. Now fourth is the little bit tricky task is there. The fourth task is you have to use two serial, one for the transmission and one for the reception. So just I will show the answer so that because we are running out of time, so we can complete that exercise. So just I will show you the program, what I have written and how it will going to execute. So just if you see here, so we are using a one library header file that is known as software serial. So this is directly available in this simulator. So you can directly use this header file here. That is the first instruction. Then the second instruction, that software serial is another instruction, or you can say it's a keyword. So software serial is your keyword. My serial is the name of the other serial. Like if you are using serial, this is the name of the serial port. Now my serial is the name of the other serial which you want to make that serial port. So that serial port will be made by pin number 2 and pin number 3 of Arduino pins. Now 3 pins are used as a reception and transmission. So 2 will be used as a reception pin and 3 will be used as a transmission pin. So this is known as software serial. So there is no other serial port is available in your board. So we make another serial port hypothetically which is made by a user. And the name of that serial port is my serial. Now, whatever you are defining in the setup, that will be executed once. So first line, we are opening the serial communication and wait for the port to open. So we have written the serial begin at the rate of 115,200. So whatever serial port is there, that will be communicating at a speed of 115,200. So that will be the first. Now, while serial, while serial is not available, so this exclamation mark means when serial is equals to 0. So serial is not available, it will execute nothing, or you can print serial not connected. Once it is connected, it will return serial connected. So this is for checking while whether your serial is free or it is busy. So sometime it may be happen that serial is sending the data and you are sending a request. So at that time it will send you this message: serial is not connected, or you have removed your hardware. So then also it will return this thing. Then this is the another serial what you have made, that is my serial. So my serial will start beginning at the rate of 38400, and it will print hello world. So on the my serial port, it will be print hello world. On the serial port, it will print serial connected. And if it is not connected, it will print you serial not connected. So first I will execute that part so that you can understand what is happening. So you compile here, accept here, and now you can open two ports. So we need another serial. So this alternate serial you can open. So you need specify here the 3 and 2 pins. Now you can execute the program. First you need to change the speed. So you can see the speed of serial begin is 11520. So you can make it 11520, and the speed of my serial is 38400. So you make the speed here 38400. Now you execute the program. Now here you can see we have got the serial connected, and here we are getting hello world. So we have received this message. Now other part of your program what it will be working. So I will just show you what that part is working. So in the loop, so if my serial is available, so if whatever serial port you have made, it is available. So what it will return, if it is equals to 1, the serial write will be equals to my serial read. So whatever you are writing in the serial port, that will be written on the whatever you are writing on the my serial, that will be written on the serial port. And the second part you are writing, if serial is available, so whatever available on the serial, if it is available, then whatever you are writing in that my serial, that will be available on the serial read. So it's a cross communication. So whatever you are writing in the my serial, that will be available in the, or whatever you are transmitting from the my serial, it will available at the serial. And whatever the data is available at the serial, it will be available at the my serial. So we will see. So here I will type my serial. So this is alternate serial, and you send. So it will be available in the serial port. Here if you write serial, so this will be available at the, so you are having some error. So this kind of error will be there. So just again, if you want to send, you can send. So you can send. So you can send in this way. So here there is a difference between communication. So what you can say, what you can do, you can make the speed of both of them will be same. So it will be easy. Okay, so it's in busy. So it's busy. That's why you are not able to send. So that kind of interrupt, or you can say exception, will be generated when your serial communication is not free. So if you send from here, it is also busy. It is also in the between some sending of some characters. So this kind of error will be happening when you are transmitting. So this kind of errors you will face when you are transmitting the bits using serial communication. So this is the all these programs or the exercise you have to complete it by you. So I will share this whole PPT with you by today so that you can practice this exercise, and all the links are available on the PPT so you can download from there. So attend your roll call. Bharti is there. Mohammed 34, enrollment number 34.
Present.
35, Kunal.
Present.
36, Janvi.
Present, sir.
38, Nidhi.
Sir, AI 34.
34 done. 37, Nidhi. 39.
Sir,
38.
37 present.
Okay. 38, Arpit.
Present, sir.
39,
Yes, sir.
40, present. 41,
Present.
Priyanshu. 44. Divya 45.
Yes, sir.
48.
Present, sir.
49.
Present, sir.
50. Home.
Present, sir.
52. 51. Hitesh.
Present, sir.
52. Sushil.
Present, sir.
53. Aditya. 54.
Present, sir.
55.
Present, sir.
73 present. Okay, done. So you can perform this task at your home. So if you are having the laptop, you can just download this software. You can try it. If you are finding any difficulty, you can just call me and I will resolve your problem. Okay,
Sir,
bye
same
everyone. Have a
task.
nice.
Okay. Sir, same task can be performed by physically also.
Yes,
ना?
फिजिकल सेम ही है, उसमें कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है.
ओके ओके. तो उसको एनरोल करने के लिए क्या प्रोसेस होगी, लाइक व्हेन वी विजिट द कॉलेज, देन इफ वी वांट टू डू दैट.
तो आप अगर फ्राइडे आते हो तो मैं अवेलेबल हूँगा, तो मैं आपको इशू कर दूंगा.
मतलब कॉलेज चालू है अभी?
हाँ, कॉलेज तो चालू है.
Sir, AI
नहीं.
73.
Yes, yes, I have taken your attendance only.
तो मतलब सारे टाइप की, मतलब सारी जो आईसीज वगैरह जो भी सिलेबस में होगी, वीएलएसआई या फिर तो, और फिर वो एक सब्जेक्ट आएगा सीओए, लाइक कंप्यूटर आर्किटेक्चर एंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. हाँ, तो वो भी हार्डवेयर रिलेटेड ही है या फिर उसमें सब लॉजिक वाइज सिर्फ लॉजिक ही होता है?
लॉजिकल है वो, हार्डवेयर नहीं आता है. कंप्यूटर आर्किटेक्चर में हम डिस्कस करते हैं कि जैसे आप